and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson. Peace.
Young
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Rob Bot, peace and love to the family. This is going to be a good one. We got Chief Pontiac back in the building, y'all. And this is a critical piece because I brought Rod on to ask him a series of questions dealing around this because, when we always come on, we always read that receipt, right? Well, the American people since 1933 have been the enemy, right? So that stands the reason that if we're the enemy, then we're at war. And if we're at war, that stands the reason that the people that's they're using war tactics on us. And eventually it'll probably get down to the flanking and all that, but I'm saying they using psychological warfare. So we'll start off with that question. Rod, so could you break down the type of psychological warfare they're using on the Nubians as far as the music, just our whole culture, how they use they're using our own culture against us as a psychological warfare? Go ahead.
It's more sociological warfare. Psychological would be one individual. But when you're talking about a group, it's sociological. It's the social structure. This goes where anywhere you got a group of people that they got to have some system to make the governing of the people functional and efficient. The problem is the war machine wants you to know that you are the enemy to it, because then you have to stand up and do something about it. If the machine can convince you, the deep state, the New World Order, the Illuminati, whoever you believe is behind it, the black nobility, the unseen hand, the hidden hand, no matter who you think is behind it, if you don't know you at war, you will never find out how to overthrow them. So the main means that they use to manipulate masses of people, then the secret societies and the inner circles are the ones that's running the show. They don't call it sociological manipulation. They call it crowd control. Crowd control is when you got a large group of people attending the function. If you can properly
They just cut Rod off. What the? Hey, Rod, peace. Hit that button. It might Rod just got disconnected. He should be. It was messing up. He should be back on in a second. We here to talk about. I'm gonna start him back where he left off at with the crowd control. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Here go Rod right here. Yeah, Rod. I wonder why it's giving Rod.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
they just kicked me clean up out of there.
Man, you saw that? They don't want us to do this one right here because they know this one thing that most of the people ain't talking about. They ain't talking about the that we at war and the military strategies and tactics being used on. So you left off with the crowd control. You was talking about how they use crowd control in sociology. Go ahead.
Okay, now the most potent form of crowd control is to make the crowd choose a section. Right? So when they give you your ticket, on your ticket, it's going to tell you where your seat at when you go in a concert. But when you walking around in day-to-day society, you don't got an actual ticket. It's not a hard ticket stub. Where is it at? It's in your mind. You gotta separate yourself from all the other sections. Those are ideologies. The Buddhists, the Taoists, the racist, the sexist, right? So when you got all of your likes and dislikes lined up, they know exactly where you're sitting at. Crowd control. And the ones who think alike normally in the same section. We all Muslims.
That's right.
Right? Muslim don't mean the same as Muslim in Arabic. But the English-speaking person that's ignorant to the Arabic language think that Muslim and Muslim is the same thing. It's not the same thing in Arabic. Right? So the crowd control is based on perception. However you perceive in the stage show, that's how they determine where you sit. The only people that knew that we was actually fighting a war, Garvey knew it. He figured it out. The BPP, Black Panther Party, they figured it out. The Black Liberation Army figured it out. The Weather Underground figured it out. The Montana Militia, the militia of Montana, it's ironic that the acronym is MOM. Figured it out. Together, the large out of the band. Right. Then you have fringe figured it out and they isolated unto themselves like Scientology. Right. They try to figure a way to annex their people from out of the crowd so they can't be controlled by crowd control. They call it the shattering of the Ingram. Right? The broken paradigm that have you malfunctioning as the operative sentient being. Right? Once they break through all of the Ingrams, they call you a clear. I mean, all of the BS that you was fed through contagion and aberration no longer affects your decision-making process. You can use the calculator, the mind, the way it's supposed to be used. Right? Then you have your motivational speakers that's trying to get you to see for yourself by unlocking certain parts of your mind. You got your Anthony Robbins. You have your Wayne Dwyer, who was more of a modern mystic. You got your Napoleon Hill, one of the coldest writers in the last 150 years on motivational influence, how to motivate yourself so nobody else don't have to. But none of them is telling us we need all this motivation because we've been sedated. Because they tell us that, we'll get mad at them and we will never let them motivate us. The sedative is through the spiritual warfare. Right? The spiritual warfare plays out in church, mosque, synagogue, temple, whatever you want to call it. Right? And this is based on these people are recognizing the perception of God that I can see. I don't have to know if they right or wrong. I can see this perception that they're giving me, this the side I'm picking. Then you have what's called dissonant religious doctrine. That means those that use the religion as a vaccine slowly withdraw you from the shenanigans, right? It's like giving you the vaccine in the IV drip. You got your Nation of Islam. Your is simple. You have your Nation of Gods and Earths, the 5% nation. You have your Yahweh ben Yahweh Hebrew Israelites, right? Then you have what's called the defector. They leave the battlefield to go help somebody else on another battlefield. So now you have your Benjamin Carters, your Siraj Wahaj, those who want to move to the Middle East, but they don't really want them over there, right? Ben Ami set up a black Jewish community made up of people he took over there from America. They don't get treated no better than they did over here, but because they think that's more of the Holy Land, they accept the mistreatment more because they think they're closer to God's country by being in somebody else's territory, honoring somebody else's influence, right? Then you have your mystic studies, your ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, your ancient Egyptian order, your Sema Yoga Institute, right? These is the paradigms is challenging the standard quo to make the individual realize that he's been raised for him. Because if you try to tell him, he can get angry to the point to execute you on behalf of the enemy. So the cognitive dissonance will make your own people give you up to the enemy because you told them something they didn't want to accept. They didn't allow themselves to analyze to determine the validity of it, right? Then another thing that shows the war effort is the sheer number of political prisoners. But when we talk about political prisoners, people think we only talking about activists. No, everybody with a drug case is a political prisoner. What makes them a political prisoner is because one of the tools of war used by the CIA to inflict harm upon our community was the drugs. And if the government create a crime, you're not supposed to be prosecuted for a crime that the government created to trap you in it. So now you have a mass entrapment of the youth, the potential leaders, the ones tired of being broke, the ones that can't take the suffering no more. They're looking for a way out. Now they all locked up. Those was our potentials for liberation, right? They don't want them on the streets because if they can get it from the dirt off this stuff that we sent to kill them, if we let them get it with the dirt, oh man, we won't be able to stop them. If we gave them their mineral resource, they would be able to manage their own wealth. You can't be a big time drug dealer and you don't know how to manage business and you don't know how to manage wealth. You won't last long. So the war effort, what they put in to kill us, we used it for a come up. But you still have what we call the moralist, which is the carryover from the religious conflict, or what, as Noble Drew Ali called it, a religious controversy. It's only there to divide us and ain't there to lead you to God. Because if it did, they wouldn't be paying preachers to teach it in a certain way that you won't never find God. And we know that they teaching them that because that's part of the bloody oath of secrecy.
Hey, Rod. So speaking of the different forms of warfare, now Shinzu in the arts of war, he said one of the number one things, and I heard you say this before, that the war is based on deception. So it was standing the reason. Could you go in some of the type of deceptions? I know one of them is we came from Africa. That was one of the number one deception. The slave narrative. All of them were forms of warfare to try to.
Those are propaganda warfare.
Go ahead, right? So
the slave narrative is so that you won't ever know you got displaced from your family farm. And our families believed in working hard as a slave for our family. We loved each other so much. The harder we worked for each other, the more we showed love. They turned that into the plantation mentality to make you not want to be associated with the family farm under no conditions. Screw you, screw the family, and screw anybody else that want to put me on a plantation. Right? But before they came, we used to leave the city during harvest season to go help harvest the vegetables. Everybody used to be out there until they shut it down with warfare. Right? The whole slave narrative is so you won't never know that instead of fighting us on a war front, they slid in with trickery, religious dogma, right? And they came with the sweetheart swindle for the big mamas who owned the land. This is why Big Papa always got caught up in the sharecropping agreement, because he wasn't the real Big Papa. The real Big Papa died at 126, but Big Mama only 45. He was married to her 20 years before he died. But now she's getting up in age and she lonely. In comes the slickster with his shiny European ruffles around his wrists, ankles, and neck. Sashaying like a woman up to a woman. What kind of Negro is this? Playing the peacock in order to suspend the senses until he can dupe her into a matrimony. If you go back to the history books, they always tell you that somebody married into the tribe, and the children from that union always gave up the land. It wasn't never us. Big Mama wasn't going to give it up, right? But when dude poisoned Big Mama, we thought it was suspicious that she lived to be 56 years old, right? When normally our Big Mamas is living to 98 and 100. All of a sudden, they say she didn't caught the diphtheria or some other made-up disease, right? She didn't caught the pox. Hopefully, she caught the 2 pox, because she's going to come back for everything she owed in the end anyway, right? So they poisoned Big Mama. They signed the contract. The contract is a sharecropper agreement to slowly surrender the land over time through an attrition model. Attrition means gradual process. So they was using that all over the land, along and in conjunction with what we call today the paddy wagon, the police, the slave catchers, the ones who catch you out there and they hit you 50 deep and you by yourself and then they murder you. So they can tell the story of how the slaves got lynched, but they wasn't never slaves because they wasn't from Yugoslavia. Right? Every lynching photograph you see is the assassination of a chief or a Big Mama, because they didn't want us teaching our tribal rights through the oral tradition as we normally did, because it would only take us this long to come back around and say, let's fix the problem now. We back for everything they owe. It's just so happened they owe us everything.
Right. Hey, that brings me to my next question, Rod. As I study because we at war, and I noticed the number one tactic, outside of deception and all that, is infiltration. Infiltration is one of their main, how they, in this war, infiltration. Could you go in on that? Because they always, the COINTELPRO, everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
In In the Sun Tzu Art of War, infiltration fall under the banner of espionage. Espionage is information gathering from the people you intend to attack, and you normally send people ahead of you to study them and relay the information. They call these types of people spies. The goal is they want to get as close to the top of the power structure as possible, because once you know how the power structure works, you know how to disrupt it. So the infiltrators that came that look like us, that ain't us, they was the ones who was being exiled. That mean they already in Europe, persona non grata, hands off, these is some riding SOBs. How do we know this? Because when we read the black background to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, that was not signed by anybody from America, that was contemporary with the document being signed. Everybody signed it in Paris, France. It was primarily a stop capturing our ship agreement between the pirates. You gotta remember, the Moorish was navigators. The pirates was the ones that didn't have a nation. So they flew the skull and bones. That means that they toxic people. They've been put off every landmass already. They poison this to your culture. So the English ships, when they was bringing the captives over here to work in the colonies, because you got to remember, pale faces didn't start coming until the 1800s. We was fighting dark-skinned, woolly-haired people all the way up into the 1800s. And most of the original so-called founding fathers did not look like they paint them on them pictures, but they don't want us to know what they really look like in order to continually conceal the dirt that was done by these Negroes, these Negropeans. Now, they got something called the Moorish Paradigm of the sardine. Parable of the sardine, my bad. And the sardine is a group of fish roughly the same size, but they are different kind of fish. Pack them in a can together. This is where you get the parable of the crabs in the buckets, right? It's all about people that's got different makeups is not gonna get along, right? So we always describe the territory to the tribal member according to temperament. Right? Ain't no way my mama would have sent me to LA when I was getting in trouble. It's just not going to happen. Because my temperament at that time was not conducive to LA culture, because I would have been a crash out. And I would have had a whole bunch of crash outs crashing out with me. Right? But the temperament testing that I needed was in the city of Wynn, where I was born for a reason. So I got to get temperament tested by the tribes from the city of Wynn, right? When I got temperature tested or temperament tested by the GDs, they want to know if I can get it from the dirt, right? So they put me on 48 from Prairie, make me a Prairie Dog, a blue pit. A dog man, right? A man with the spirit of a fighting dog that won't give up, no retreat, no fucking surrender, right? Then I got to lead there. I go out in 103rd Corliss area because I got to be around Stones and Lords and Folk Corner Hustlers. I don't really know them around them at the time though, because I'm just being me, respectful, like my mama taught me. Honor the way the people move on the link. You ain't got nothing to say about what them people doing. You ain't from over there. You don't know what's going on. Don't go dipping your nose in other folks' business. Then I end up in Motown, right? So now I literally have to do dirt with stones because I'm on their territory. I can't just do dirt in stone territory and those stones with me, or else I'm asking for a homicide to be inflicted upon my person. Right? But if I follow the rules, right, I end up making friends with Mickey Cobras, Vice Lords, right? Spanish Cobra, Satin Disciple, all these different sets over in that area, right? I get my chin checked by G. Kirk. He's the general, Peace Stone. And he also my cousin-in-law. Knocked sparks from my ass, made me crip walk. But I ain't fold, right? So we had to come up with a way to game test everybody in the game, temperament test them, same way we do with the dogs. If you come in the wrong area with the wrong energy, they snuffing you out. Ain't no doubt about it. Every hood got a record of somebody that ain't from there come down trying to lay their hand down and end up found in a body bag. Every hood. So when you preparing for warfare, you have to also understand your training processes. Right? You got to understand your territory, art of war, know your terrain. The espionage factor becomes clearer to the one who's seen the different cultures on the land, because the ones who don't belong there start to stick out like a sore thumb. I got a friend of mine I met in the joint. He from the Mindi tribe in Sierra Leone, right? And how we got to be cool is we was out on the basketball court, and when he walked out the door, I said, he ain't one of us. Who is this nigga? Flat out the gate. Everybody on the yard was looking at me like, how you know? I said, he ain't one of us. He from somewhere else. I don't know where he from, but he ain't from over here. And they was looking at me and they was laughing because they thought I was tripping. I said, hey, come here for a minute, dog. I said, what's your name? He told me his name. I said, where you from? He said, well, I grew up over here. My daddy from Sierra Leone. I said, I told y'all, everybody, their mouth hit the floor. His swag wasn't like ours. But then we got to talking because they was all asking questions at that point. How did you know? He don't got a Native American Indian swag. He don't stroll like he from Mississippian culture, from Louisiana culture. Right? He from Chicago culture, LA, he don't got none of that. Right? But when they come from the different parts of the land, like when I was locked up with the Crip, I knew he was from LA as soon as I seen him. And I knew he was a Crip. It's just off-site. Yeah, what up, Crip? Right? And the same thing, I had to walk and talk with Bloods. I can't sit there and tell them, don't war with the Crips unless I know what they beefing about. Most of them don't know that Bloods and Crips was the byproduct of the Black Panther Party's children who wanted to fight police brutality. And the police infiltrated them and turned them on each other, and that was a wrap with that. That's,
hey,
we've
Rod,
been had 45, 50 years.
That's right. That brings my next question about the police. I was just about to ask you that. You brought it right. Like every time I'm about to ask you a question, you always go right into it. So my next question about the police, we already did the tape about the police being the foreign occupation military. Now, but I noticed they do, and you might can go in on this a little bit more. It might be a form of psychological warfare. I think it is. Now, when they shoot a brother in the back, and they put it on TV, and it seems like they got to do it every couple of weeks or every couple of months to keep us in this, man, like the Nubian brothers in fear of, oh, I can't possibly be, if a cop pull me over, like it don't matter, like I can not be doing nothing wrong, but every time I get pulled over by a cop, I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for my life, period. especially if it's a white cop. I'm afraid for my life because
Look,
go ahead.
The only people can understand our relationship with the police is somebody whose country has been invaded and occupied by perpetual force. South Africans understand where we coming from. Iraqis understand where we're coming from. Right? The Palestinians understand where we're coming from. The Assyrians understand where we Afghanistan. In order for you to occupy territory, you have to have boots on the ground, perpetual movement of the military force. Because as soon as you pull them back, nature restores the original structures. You have to always be at war with nature. Because the only way you can fight us is you have to fight nature. And then if you can make us forget who he is, we won't use nature to fight back yet. As soon as we remember who he is, we nature too. We the physical incarnation of the spirits of nature. Right? So they just keeping us deactivated by telling us the slave narrative, propaganda warfare. Right? So once you understand how occupation works, go study American invasion of Iraq. Right? Study the invasion of other countries and what do they do to enforce their control on the land? And how long do it take for them to assimilate the people on that land into their new structure of leadership, rulership, governance? Right? The only people that can tell you what an occupying military look like is the ones who study military occupation. If you don't study military occupation, you think the police is normal. That shit ain't normal. If it was normal, the police would be older than 150 years old. They not. If it was normal. If it was normal, we would have had prisons when they got here. We didn't. If it was normal, if it was natural. It's not natural. We didn't have mental institutions. The irony is they turned our castles into these things. Because the subconscious message is I got to get back to my castle if I'm going to be the king. We just didn't realize that they had repurposed the castle to recategorize us and to remove the leadership. Right? So they all got to the castle, the big house, upstate.
Hey, Rod, that brings me to my next question. Because I know the Second Amendment, now it's dealing around the topic. The Second Amendment said that we have a right for bear arms and we have the right to start a real regulated militia. Now, we know that the COINTELPRO operation, every time the Black Panthers was that moving on that.
Hey,
on that.
Pause 1 second now. You're breaking up real bad.
So crazy, man. We hooked up to the internet. That's crazy. It's freezing us. Look at it. Hey, y'all hit that like.
Okay, it's catching up now.
I think I'm finna get on this phone. Switch to this phone. I don't make it. I don't know. I'm hooked right to the internet, so that they might just be messing, jacking around. They messing with us, man. I'm telling you, because I get like, why would it like all of a sudden they want to do this when we talk? But look here, check this out. What I was about to ask you. Yeah, so
back to normal.
Yeah, so what I was about to ask you is the Real Record Militia. We the last organization called the No Effing Around Coalition. They set the leader up with the FBI set the leader up, COINTELPRO pretty much. They said that he was pointing his gun on at somebody on top of the roof. Like it was a sniper on top of the roof looking down at him. And he just pointed his gun up there to see who was on the roof. And they charged him with pointing the gun at an FBI agent. Master, can't forget his name, but he was the leader of the No Effing Around Coalition. But so based on your strategy, why would they give us a Second Amendment and then won't let us? They always attack us or infiltrate us when we do a well-regulated militia. And even if we peaceful, it's peaceful, a peaceful militia. Go ahead, could you go in on that?
Dred Scott never been reversed in any court of law anywhere on the land.
Go ahead.
The Dred Scott case specifically did the constitutional rights of one of us. We don't got none. The Constitution had nothing to do with the outlaw tribes. But how you gonna keep people under control if you let them know that none of this paperwork got anything to do with you? They put it on the paper to deceive you in the first place. The Constitution don't got nothing to do with us. We got articles of confederacy, right? We got the treaty of the Five Nation Treaty, right? The Iroquois Confederacy, the Cherokee Confederacy. Them are documents. Continental Congress was the bridge between the Iroquois Confederacy and the one they call the Iroquois Confederacy, Iroquois and Cherokee, because the colonizers wanted to set up their own business entity. It had nothing to do with government. All of the government is imposed using the military force. This is shown when they show them tell us that, okay, we ain't gonna advance no further on y'all land if y'all just give us this little 10 feet right here. Right? Then they find oil. Oh, wait a minute, we need this too, right here, because it got this oil in here. Right? Or then copper. Oh, wait a minute, but we got to move y'all over here. So they playing 3-card money. They playing that shell game, shuffling us around the land like we don't know where we at. Of us didn't. The younger ones didn't know where they was at. They thought they was in a whole new country. But the elders knew. Oh shit, this up here where this tribe. I met that chief a while down in the south. Right, so the elders knew they wasn't on foreign land, but some of the youth know. Right. Then dispute your identity itself. If we got caught calling ourselves Indians, they was just straight up shoot us. So we was left with the term black, and we was left with native. We didn't even call ourselves Indian, that they called us first. We didn't call ourselves no damn Indians before they came over here. Every tribal tongue referred to us as the people. This is why your Constitution started, we the people. It's supposed to be incorporative or giving you the illusion that it's incorporating all the tribes. Say we the people. But it ain't incorporating any tribe. None. That's system. That's the European colonizing system governed over the tribe of the land by the discovery doctrine of the Catholic Church. Spain was the first ones the Catholic Church greenlit to come over here and start colonization and settlement. And he said, they did what they did to us. They go over and take that land because God said he was going to land when he come back. Why the fuck he ain't get one before he left? That's what I want to know, because they didn't raise.
What the? What the?
Yo, this is crazy, man. Why are they doing this? Like, yo, just cut raw off. Hold on, man. What the hell? Yo, hold on, y'all. Something going on. It just, let's see, just kick raw off. This joint is accurate. So they don't want us to do this show tonight, do it. Can Rod get back on? Y'all see how they doing us. Hold on, y'all. Let's see if it lit Rod. Right when he was talking, y'all. Hey, peace and love. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Nah, it won't. Yo, it's crazy, man. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. I don't know what the heck going on now. It says ended. That's crazy, man. It just cut Rod off. Won't let him get back on. Man, they don't want us. Hold up.
Look, this is crazy. My internet just went out at the house.
What?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi at the house just went out. We had two different Wi-Fis and both of them out.
That's crazy.
So I had to use my main. I came back on my main phone because it's straight hardwired to the telephone company.
Dang, that's crazy. It's just echoing like a mother.
Where was we at though, player? Can you hear me clear?
Hold on, let me. Look, I don't know what happened, but it cut me off.
Man, we was at
Did you do that on purpose, El?
here we go. Oh yeah, they really. It's echoing. Can you hear the echo, Rod?
I don't hear no echo.
Okay, it might just be on my side. All right, so this hey, I forgot what you was. They drop it in the chat, but we're talking about the militia.
They hear you.
And the Second Amendment ain't part of with us, and that's not it's on.
You want to go out and start all over?
All right, let me
say this just start all over.
All right, let's start back over. It's crazy, man. Yeah, let's start all over.
Okay.
Like 5 minutes.
All right.
Never have it been made so clear.